Let's talk about 6 big negatives with the Jeep Gladiator. These are areas that people like me, and I've seen plenty of others, have been complaining about for years. Really, ever since the Jeep Gladiator came out, I think back in 2020. And yeah, I had one of the first ones. First of all, this ignorant auxiliary battery. If you didn't know, you have 2 batteries in your Jeep Gladiator. One up top under the hood that you can actually see, and then a second smaller one about twice the size of a lawnmower or motorcycle battery that is actually right down in that area below the fuse panel. It goes bad. It goes bad somewhere in 3 to 5 years. At least it has for me on every Jeep Gladiator I've had, and a couple of others that I know have had the same problem. Now, the issue with this is accessibility, because just like the big main battery, it's something you can change yourself. It should be that easy, right? But because of where Jeep puts it, it's very difficult to get to. You have 2 ways to change it. You can pull the fuse panel from up above, and who in the hell wants to mess with that? Do you really want to mess with the electrical system in your Jeep Gladiator? Sometimes they have enough problems to begin with, let alone you messing with it. Or secondly, you can pull the fender liner back, go up underneath, remove some screws, drop a tray while you're trying to balance a relatively heavy connected battery. If Jeep has to continue having this stupid auxiliary battery, why not locate it inside the truck underneath the back seat? Assuming, of course, there's no room under the hood to put it, which is probably what Jeep would tell you. But under the seat, we have plenty of room. There is a storage tray in mine. I know some folks don't even have this. But the battery could be over there behind the passenger seat in a little compartment with cables running up to it to connect. A lot of the hybrids these days have batteries located, along with other equipment, under the rear seats. Now, the biggest complaint I can see about doing that is, well, it's going to take away from any storage that we do have in the Jeep. It's not very big. I mean, if you had a box that was probably 10 by 10 inches long by, let's say, 4 or 5 inches in width, that's all you would need. It would take up very little space back there. And then when that battery goes bad, which it's going to do, you just go ahead and pop a lid off of that cover, disconnect the terminals, and replace the battery yourself. Why hasn't Jeep done that if we even have to continue to have that damn battery to begin with? Secondly, number 2, a locking hood. Why is this not standard? And why is it not even electronic? I mean, at worst, they could put some sort of a keyed lock integrated. It would fit perfectly right here, right? Just have a slot, you turn it, it releases the latch, and you can open the hood. Right now, we are vulnerable, we are exposed. You just pop open the latches, you've got access to everything under the hood. And how many batteries do you think, speaking of batteries, have been stolen over the years because they're so easy to get to under the hood of the Jeep Gladiator, or any Jeep for that matter? Why don't we have some sort of locking hood? I would even take the old cable style where you had to pull something on the inside to release the hood. Better than nothing. Number 3, speaking of locking stuff, why doesn't the gas cover lock? Right now, when the truck's locked, you walk up, you pop it open, and anybody has access to gas, right? People steal it, people pour junk in there. There's all kinds of bad things that can happen because we don't have a locking cap. Now, I'm not really an advocate to put a key on there. I mean, you could, but then it would look like what is under that cover up there looks like. It should be electronic like almost every other, well, many other vehicles out there. Something pretty simple to do, and honestly, if it added a little bit to the cost of the Jeep, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd much rather feel secure. and spend a little extra money. Number 4, an auto stop permanent defeat button. Right now, of course, we have auto stop, at least I do, in the Jeep Gladiator. I've had it in every one that I've ever had, I believe. It's where when you pull up to a stop, the Jeep shuts off. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. I've hated it ever since I first experienced it. They do, of course, give us a button, if you remember to push it every time you restart the truck. It's kind of like a Band-Aid, and one of the big arguments I keep hearing out there about why they don't give you a permanent defeat is because of EPA requirements or something to do with fuel economy. I don't buy that, because if that were true, why do they give us a button at all? I mean, you can get in the truck, if you remember, every time and push that button to shut it down. I had a car a while back, several years ago. It had auto stop in it, but when you push the button, it remembered it. So if I turned it off once, I never had to touch that button again. Why not give the consumer the option to decide whether or not we want to utilize that system? And it might even enable us to get rid of the auxiliary battery. I don't know. Let's talk about number 5, auto up windows. This drives me nuts. It's another pet peeve, probably because I think every other vehicle I have has auto up windows. You know, it's bad enough, and I know this is a Jeep thing, it's probably sacrilege to say, but we have the controls for the windows in the center console area. Again, I know it's a Jeep thing, right? They could be in the door. There's no reason they can't be, but it's such a pain to have to reach across there and hold the damn button. First world problems, I know, but hold the button while the window goes up. Why isn't it one touch? Again, I get arguments from people whenever I talk about this, about it being a safety thing. Well, it's so that nobody gets their arms or their head or something stuck in the window. Well, what about all the other vehicles that have it? How do they manage to get away with it? Are they just not concerned about people chopping off limbs because there's an auto up feature on their windows? I don't think so. I think it's a Jeep thing. It's probably a cost thing. I don't really know what thing it is, but there's no reason it can't be done. Lastly, number 6, lockable under seat storage. You know, I mentioned earlier about some people don't even have storage underneath the rear seats. It's crazy to me. What a waste of space. And how much does it cost to put a plastic cover on top of that storage when you do have it? We don't have a ton of lockable room in the Gladiator as it is. And every time I look at that little storage area that I do have under there, it always seems like they forgot to do something. They forgot to put a lockable lid on it. Why don't we have that? Anyway, these are just 6 negatives, 6 things that Jeep could easily correct, I think, and make the Gladiator even more appealing to people like me. And I know there are more out there than just me that want these 6 simple things. Leave a comment. Let me know if you agree. I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.